is our Div 37 patch based on an amp company that does math with bad numbers, does math with unlucky numbers, A-Rod's number to be specific. This is the FTR 37. It's a very nice looking amp we got sitting over my right shoulder to your left. And we're gonna be talking you through it and letting you hear it in this video today. welcome to Signal Theory. I'm Bradford, just enjoying a lovely cup of a Latin American coffee from one of my favorite local places, Jubala. And as the mug says, I am the world's best boss, and you cannot lie. The mug cannot lie. Before we go any further though, subscribe if you haven't. If you like digital stuff like this, this is just a product video. We do videos about other things as well. If you like seeing the best ways to incorporate the analog and the digital together, that's something we love doing as well. So give us a subscribe, head over to signaltheoryaudio.com and sign up for the email list as well. Rumor has it we've been doing flash sales via email only. So there's that. And also we just keep you up to date with what we're doing, what we got going on, like when we may have some dope merch available. Coming soon. But let's get into the patch. This is a 2-channel amp, and you can in fact jump it. Channel 1 is on the right side, which confuses me. I don't know if that confuses you, but it's on the right side. It is a UK style drive, not Voxy. I'm guessing Marshall, which is kind of funny because Marshall was trying to take the place of the fact that Bassmans and other Fenders were hard to get over in England at the time. So whatever, but I think this is JTM 45 kind of thing is what I would classify it as. And I say that just because like it doesn't have that plexi sauce, but the JTM 45 is a real nice amp, and the way this is done, particularly when we throw a gold on it, we'll get to that. Real nice edge of breakup tones, a lot more dynamic control than I have been accustomed to the JTM 45. Haven't spent loads of time with one myself, like we did one several years ago. So I would like to refresh my memory of playing an actual one, but I really like what this does. Channel 2 is a US flavored channel. Nice snap from the cleans, and it does drive really well too, something that I don't typically associate with the Fender kind of amp. Real nice and tight, so whether you are pushing the amp itself or whether you are throwing pedals in front of it, it sounds really good. It doesn't just swallow up. You don't have a massive scoop either. That could, of course, be attributed to the speaker choices. We'll get to that as well in a second, but lots of variety in this amp, especially if you want to start dialing in some jump sounds. Really cool, really pleased with the refined nature of it. And just the cleans, edge of breakup, driven tones everywhere in between, which I guess that's kind of it. What we've been doing for almost 2 years now is giving you 2 patches, well 4, but 2 completely different patches, an A preset and a B preset. And for A and B, you also get a single coil and humbucker voiced patch. Those are suggestions. Between Brian and I, we have multiple guitars with different types of single coils or different type of humbuckers, and you plug one in, you dial it in, it's perfect. You grab another one, you plug it in, and you're like, well, it's not bad, but it's not quite what we're wanting. And you want to add some more lows or take away some more lows or whatever. So know that we do that to give you a good starting point, but they're merely suggestions. If there something's in between, just pick one that you really like and go for it. There's nothing, you're not going to hurt anything, right? You make some tweaks. If it's not, you know, I typically say to try both and see which one is closer. You know, a P90, for example, is something that people actually ask about a lot, or Filtertrons. And they say, you know, which one? I'm like, well, plug it in and see which one's closer to what you want, because single coils may be nice and warm and you like it, but it may be just too hot. Maybe you just need to take away some gain because it's, you know, Filtertron's a humbucker. Or if you plug it into the humbucker setting and you're like, oh, it's way too clean, but I like how it sparkles. Okay, we'll just add some gain back to the amps. Nothing wrong with making some tweaks. If the snapshots are a little uneven for your liking, the scenes, the snapshots are a little too uneven, that's gonna happen too based on the player and the pickups. We recommend just going into, like in this case, in Helix, going over into stomp mode and getting a clean sound, turn off the drives, listen to it and turn on one drive at a time and see what you're getting and see if it's there that you're finding some bumps. Like I said, pickups or you as a player, us as players, changes how that could react. Sometimes, like this patch, for example, there is one in here, we're just not using it. There's like a unity gain block at the very end. We keep that in there sometimes if you really like it and you just turn it on with a scene or a snapshot, and it gives you just pure volume because it's the very end of the chain. It's not gonna affect tone, it's just lifting the whole sound. One really cool thing about digital is that we can do stuff like that. So if you want to do that, that's often helpful for amps where there's not a lot of headroom, or when we're already driving an amp and you want to kind of boost it a little bit more, but you don't want to change how it sounds. Something like that's really nice. That's what's so great about digital. A preset is all of the effects, everything. into the front of two instances of an amp. B preset we put in the middle of the chain, stereo effects start after. So with an amp like this, where we have two channels that actually work really well together, what we did was take channel 1 and channel 2, and you have both of those at the end of the chain. You can't do that in real life, so that's what's one thing that's really cool about digital. So you're gonna have channel 1, the UK side, and channel 2, the US side, and you can run into both at the same time. It sounds really cool, really interesting how each amp takes drives differently, but it really sounds great when you can have the two amps taking the same drive differently. If you're not a fan of that, really easy, just grab the block that you do like and copy it down into the other block and replace it. You could switch the IR out if you're on an IR unit, loading unit, like in this case, Helix, Stomp, the Line 6 stuff. Fractal units, we're using IRs. But also, just having two of the same amp, but two different IRs, maybe a little more your speed as well. Lots of options. We're giving you 3 options for IRs, and we'll get to that a little bit in a second as well. But here is our A preset. You got a clean sound. I love it with the clean Marshall sound, the clean Fender sound. Sounds really snappy, but still has like hair, but because it's only on one amp, it's really cool. First drive is a Timmy, really meant to just sound more like you're just adding gain, not really getting beefier, not getting too much louder. Drive 2 is a Klon, meant to be a little thicker and chewier. You could use either drive for leads, but really like how this sounds. It's just like a more thicker drive. At least on Helix, we are using the Dyna drive, which is a Zen drive, and that's like our lead sound. And you know how we do ambient clean. I've never actually learned how to play that song, but I realized I was playing Blackbird, so I'm going with it. If you're not a fan of the big verb, that's okay. We know that we have a wide range of players who utilize our stuff, which is really awesome to us. So no matter what you play, we're glad you're here. If you're looking for this amp, we know that it's gonna be just fine for whatever style you have in mind. Easy thing, just take out the big ambient verb block, but it's really fun to get lost in. And being church guys, we also really like to use that kind of thing. So. Trim clean. Swells. All right, so let's move on to the B preset. Like I said, B is where we put the amp in the middle and stereo chain starts after. With an amp like this, and pretty often actually, one reason we like doing this also is because that means you can experience like turning up the amp and utilizing the gain that's on tap. Some amps not as great for that, and so it's more like, well, let's run the amp. Let's try to do things differently than the A, and it depends on what's going on. With an amp like this, the first amp, your clean amp, is the US side, which is if you were running the amp, maybe that's what you would do. When you want a little more drive, you switch over to the UK side, and that's how we have it set up as well. So here's your clean tone, real snappy and clean. Let's make sure there's no delay, yep. Then drive is just turning on a Timmy. We try to keep things a little consistent with drives just so there's, you know what you're listening for. That to me sounds more like amp gain is just turned up a little bit more, and that was kind of the goal too, so you get a little more flexibility. Then a rhythm sound where he's turning on a SD9 into a dirty dirtier amp. Well, let me show you real quick. This is how that amp's set up. It's not ridiculously dirty, but it is dirty. Here is with the SD9. SD9 is an interesting drive pedal. It likes to be set up a specific way. Could understand if you start playing something and you realize it doesn't work for you. Totally get that. But just know it's a really cool sound, and like it's very picky about things, and that's why that and this next one, the fuzz, we felt like it sounds better into the driven up Marshall instead of the clean Fender. So same with this fuzz lead. So if I swap over to the clean Fender, does not sound great to me, and the volume is very different. So it takes, each amp is taking that fuzz differently, as well as the SD9. So if you're wondering, it's very intentional. You can tweak to your liking, but just know we did mean for it to kind of like, that's how it works. Ambient, again. With all the wet effects after the amp, it's a lot more pristine. The wet effects are a lot more pristine. We're big fans of that as well. I prefer more into the front of amps, Brian more after. But it's just really cool to have both to try out. Trim clean again. Mod clean, it's a Dimension C chorus. We love. Ambient lead. That is using the SD9. It's likened to the big rhythm, except your wet effects change. That's really the biggest thing. Okay, so if you're on a capture device, which this is our very first new product to be released to include Stadium Proxy captures. We're very excited about that because Proxy is very cool. We're big fans of it as we're continuing to dive in. We have some videos on the channel, by the way, if you'd like to check those out. But if you're on a capture device, QC, Tonex as well, you will get 3 speakers and direct. Direct is great for a number of reasons. Some people do prefer how it sounds with a direct capture using an IR. I do think it sounds a little bit different. Whether or not I prefer one or the other, I personally don't know, but you still get 3 great speaker options to try out. You get a G12H30, a G12M, which is a greenback, definitely great to have with like the Marshall side of the amp, and then an Alico Gold, which is actually the first speaker I plugged this amp into. It was the first one I had available, and I was like, wow, there's some serious chime there, and it really transforms this amp. I mean, speakers do that in general, but when you put like something like a gold, which is like typically understood to be a more refined, better blue, you know, you can kind of get that like mid-range chimey thing that you get out of a Vox, but it's not a Vox. So it's a really cool option to have that as well, and you get all of that. When you use the gold though, you may notice that it doesn't seem to have as many captures as the G12M and the G12H30. That was because as we were gaining it up, those captures just were not sounding good. The amp was not sounding good. It was sounding too thin, and it kind of defeats the purpose to have a big gain sound that sounds rather thin. Now, maybe in a mix that's better, but it's not super inspiring. It just wasn't, to us, worth including. So, you know, you're getting all these other captures as well. If you really would like to, though, you could, of course, put like a gold IR into the higher gain DI captures that you're getting as well. But All of these things are available over at signaltheoryaudio.com. Just a reminder, if you're a QC user, we need your username anytime you order from us. That way we can get your stuff to you as fast as possible. And you do need to be following us on the app as well, so make sure you're following us over there, and we'll get all that stuff to you. We are very excited about this amp. This is a fun one. I've been looking to add this to my collection for quite some time, and so I hope you all enjoy it as much as I do, as much as we do. And we thank you so much for checking this out. Please, if I haven't said it already enough, please subscribe. We'll see you next time.